The Yankees pulled it off in Game 1, and we're going to talk all about it.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm one of your hosts, Stacey Sully. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com. Yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your baseball rivals. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. With me as usual, although this is unusual because it's a Saturday night, Brian McKeon, my co-host. Hello.
What a big win. What a big win.
Woo. Yeah, I was really worried there for a while that we were going to be doing a live stream after a really tough loss. So we'll get into it. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the channel on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go up. Leave comments as long as they're nice, because it helps the algorithm. On today's show, obviously, we're talking about the game. We're talking about the Yankee game, and then maybe later in the show, we'll talk about the other games that happened today, because there was other craziness that happened in the playoffs. But obviously, we're starting with the Yankees because we're a Yankees podcast, and here we are, Game 1, down, and they won. Hallelujah.
Yeah, listen, no one ever said it was going to be easy, right? So we can't sit here and act like this is supposed to be some easy victory they were going to get away with. So many takeaways out of this game, right? So many unbelievable takeaways. We can go after the Cole story and how he pitched, right? We can go after how the bullpen pitched and trusting Clay Holmes, or how about how Luke Weaver closed the game out, Giancarlo Stanton's base running, how I don't know how Yankee fans forgot all of a sudden that Giancarlo Stanton can't run. I don't know why that escaped all of our minds for an hour or so there. But regardless, full team win. A lot of the chances where you thought they'd lose this game. A lot of times throughout the season where if this game went as it went tonight, they would have just rolled over and died. But they came back, they fought, they played hard, despite not getting any real game out of Judge at all. This was an all-around great win for them.
And hello, you didn't mention the hero, our everyone's favorite punching bag, including ours, Alex Verdugo.
Yeah.
No, you knew that was going to happen, right? Like
I said in the short that I posted right after the game, I wanted Alex Verdugo starting the whole time. I don't know what anyone else was talking about. I didn't get Verdugo starting in this game. I didn't like it, but he came through. Give him credit where credit's due. He got 2 hits in this game. Had biggest hit of the game by far to give him the lead. He had an outstanding game. He did. Yeah. I can't take that away from him.
That play that he made, and what I found interesting after he made that.
2 plays in the outfield. There were 2 plays. There was the one, but also I think an underrated thing before you get to your point is, I believe it was the 5th or 6th inning, the ball that was drilled off the wall.
Yeah.
That he kept from becoming a double. The added pressure with Holmes coming in with a guy on second base changes the entire inning with a guy on second as opposed to a guy on first. But go ahead. I knew I was going to forget that point, so go ahead.
What I noticed after he made that sliding catch into foul territory, which was, that was an amazing play. Mm-hmm. Cole, you could see Cole thanking Wells for calling that pitch and told him, good call on that pitch. I think it was the first changeup he threw all night, right? Or something like that. So, Cole, as iffy as he looked, as hard as they hit him, that could have been so much worse. Like, honestly. He really is. It wasn't his best start. It certainly wasn't his worst start either. We've seen him have worse starts this season, and he was still able to give them enough length to where it wasn't a full bullpen game. Like, it wasn't where they had to start the bullpen in the 3rd inning, thank goodness. So, everyone's rested. They'll be rested again for Monday because they have Sunday off. I'll complain about that later in the show, but I'm too old for this. I'm just saying, I don't like this. I felt sick all day. I felt sick during the game. I actually took my temperature, and then my thermometer said that I had a 92 temperature, which is not right because that would be hypothermia. So I don't think my thermometer is correct. Otherwise, I have to go to the ER after we're done with the show. But I don't know. Like, just anyone else when they were bringing in Luke Weaver thinking to themselves, yeah, it's over. Like, he's so good right now.
I thought bringing him in the 8th was a little premature, to be quite honest with you. I just did. I thought it was a little unnecessary that early on. It felt like they were rushing to him. And I also felt like they were rushing to the bullpen. I felt like Boone couldn't wait to take Garrett Cole out of that game after the hit. Couldn't wait.
Well, I don't know. There was one move that Boone. What was the move that I didn't agree with Boone? That I was
in Clay Holmes at all?
Well, yeah, but hey, I mean,
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better for him to pitch in that sort of a situation instead of putting him in the 8th or the 9th. So
bullpen pitching was great. Weaver's location was incredible in this game. And he really what made me happy about it was the amount of confidence that he pitched with. This is not a guy that's closed more than 10 games in his entire career, and he came in with a ton of confidence. Really,
his first postseason game. I mean, it's not easy. Yes, even as a Yankee to come in your first postseason game, you just became the closer for the New York Yankees after, he's 31 years old. It's not like he's a rookie doing this. He's been around a while, and this is his first taste of something big like this, and he was amazing.
Little hidden storyline that probably won't get talked about much, especially by Yankee fans, but the Yankees Yankees took advantage of this a lot more than the Royals got advantage of this. The umpiring was atrocious in this game.
Atrocious. And it was atrocious all day in the other series as well.
It was in favor of the Yankees, and the Yankees got lucky with it, but it could also screw the Yankees over later on in the series. Beware.
Right.
I don't know how they went to replay on the Jazz Chisholm stolen base of second base and then still got it wrong.
I know.
It baffles my mind how in sports we do that, how we go to replay and we still get the call wrong. Because Jazz was clearly out.
Yeah.
It's clearly out. And they still got the call wrong. Again, scored the game-winning run, so good call. Good work.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for helping.
The strikeout looking to Bobby Witt Jr. Loved the call, but that ball was low.
Yeah.
That was a ball. I'll admit it. Like, I'm grateful for the call. Bobby Witt had a point. Like, that ball was low in the zone. It was. Overall, though, great win, gritty win. It wasn't a pretty win by any means, but they gritted it out. There were plenty of chances in this game where they could have rolled over and died, and they didn't. And that is a real big key. And we discussed this going into game one before the series even started, Stacey. This was the biggest game of the series for the Yankees. Not for the Royals, but for the Yankees. Because if you lost this game, then going into Reagan's and then going into Lugo, it would have been a really, really steep hill to climb. This was a massive, massive win for the Yankees.
Now, I know that Weaver was helped out with that call against Witt Jr., but 0 for 5, the Yankees kept him for the first time. He hadn't been 0 for 5 in a game since June 18th. So
they also did it to Judge too.
Yeah, Judge
struggled.
Judge, I mean, we talked about the numbers against Waka. We told you guys about that, and you just knew that wasn't going to be great. And it's also, the Judge is the type of guy that needs to hit every day, because if he doesn't, his timing gets all out of whack, and he just looks really bad. So it's not great that he didn't have a good game tonight, but it's also not great that he's not back at it on Sunday. They have to wait till Monday.
I'm okay with it because of football. But I get it. I get why, as a baseball fan, it would annoy you. It gives you more of an opportunity to get I think that's why the Royals were really, really going at it with the bullpen. Like, they were switching out bullpen pitches every 3 batters, literally letting the minimum go, and that was it. And that was the point, right? Because you have this day off built in between, where why not throw the kitchen sink at him? Why not? The off days are plentiful. So you had plenty of time to get any guys rest that you could possibly want.
As annoying as some of those innings were, where you wanted them to get the big hit and they didn't. Some of those walks were pretty big, though. Like, from guys
huge.
that,
huge. Them especially in that inning. I mean, I'm a little upset to this point that they still didn't get more runs out of that inning, because you load the bases and you only get one run out of an entire bases loaded jam. Kind of annoying, like really annoying. I mean, Judge.
Well, even the first inning, when that happened, second and third, no, I was like, no, please, not like this, because when a first inning starts like that, and then the Royals get the lead first, which was another problem the Yankees had all season. They were awful when the other team scored first. Like, they won some games, but their record was terrible when the other team scored first. So the fact that they were able to...
You got off to a bad start too, and it was I watched it personally, and I thought, oh, here we go again, because the first out that was made with Glaber at home plate was a play where that was a classic Glaber Torres base running mistake, because he should not have been running on contact. There was one out. There was not a forced play at the plate. There was,
Right.
and the infield was in. There was no reason for Gleyber to be running on contact there, and instead he's running as soon as the ball's hit. They throw him out at the plate, I can't imagine that he was being sent by the third base coach. It was only Gleyber choosing to run. And, I didn't see the replay, so I don't necessarily know for sure if the third base coach was sending him, but I doubt he was. And that sets a really bad tone to start a game with a base running mistake that early on.
Yeah. And there were some sloppy things happening, and it was like a typical Yankees sloppy game, which is just annoying to watch, because I joked on Twitter, I'm like, Joe Girardi wouldn't accept this kind of play at all, because some of these guys would be like taken out. But let me just put this, not that, sorry. Robbie Garnes, why not play yesterday and today then? They had the off day Friday in case the wild card series, any of them made it to 3, and if there were was a rain out and they would have to reschedule, they needed that game in between, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's probably
and
why.
Robbie, I wouldn't sit there and say off days negate the advantage of being the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed is the advantage that is getting home field, and that did come to fruition in this game. I texted Stacey right in the middle of it, because when the Yankees loaded the bases in the middle of the game, the reliever that was in was 25 years old and walked 3 guys in a row, one of them to let a run in. I'm sorry, and we mentioned this, the importance of getting the 1 seed at the end of August through the whole month of September and into October now. The importance of the 1 seed and having home field at Yankee Stadium is that moment right there. Is a 25-year-old on the mound with 55,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs, and him subsequently walking 5 guys, they walked 4 in a row, but walking 3 in a row himself, and one of them to allow the game leading run to come in. That is the point of home field. That is what home field does. That is what, playing in somewhere like the Bronx does. That's the difference between playing in the Bronx in Seattle, or the Bronx in Minnesota, or the Bronx in Colorado, where there aren't massive home field advantages. So, that meant a lot. And I do believe a lot of this win has to do with the game being played in Yankee Stadium. This game could have very easily gone in a different direction if it's not played in the Bronx.
Okay, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment. I will remember to put it there on our videos Monday through Thursday, but also today's video, because we do Fan Mail Friday every Friday, usually. And you can leave your questions there. We'll answer them. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions. I was texting back and forth with people during the game, some interesting responses to some of the stuff that was happening during the game. There's a 14-day free trial, and it's a lot of fun. Coming up next, we're going to talk more about this adventurous game between the Yankees and the Royals. When life gets busy, fitting in a workout can be stressful. With Tonal, you can get efficient workouts personalized just for you and are available with the amount of time you have. Tonal is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger. Powered by AI, Tonal learns with every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move with detailed progress reports. They even create personalized program and workout suggestions or recommendations based on your individual goals. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal optimizes every workout just for you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses digital weight or adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques. From professional athletes to the mom of 3, Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off your purchase. One more time, Tonal.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off. Don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. All right, so game 1 is down. We have game 2 on Monday, but let's just talk a little bit more about this game. The atmosphere. I was a little worried when I saw the crowd at first, because with about I think maybe like 30 minutes to go. It didn't look as full. And I know they opened the gates at 4:30. Like they made it a point to open them early for people to show up. But I was happy with the crowd once the game actually started. Oh, speaking of, wait, let's discuss this. Okay. And chat, let us know. What did we think of Bob Costas and Ron Darling during the broadcast? Because there were some things that Costas said that were just... It's 15 years. We know the short porch is short. We know that, Glaber's home run would have only been a home run. We know. It's 15 years, okay? They don't move the fences back when the opposition comes into the game. They have the same ability to hit a home run barely over a fence. So could we please? It's 15 years. Can we put that to rest already? I can't.
I wasn't as bothered by their call this year as I was the horrendous year like 2 years ago when they called that series, when everyone complained and then Costas apologized afterwards. That series, I thought they were particularly bad. This one I wasn't as bothered by. I didn't think they were terrible. I didn't think they were good. I think they were just whatever. Like they didn't bother me. Like I never really get that bothered by play-by-play. Like it didn't. I think the problem is when people decide they don't like a broadcaster, they look for every reason to not like them. They look for every little incremental thing the guy says. Like, oh, see, he has to say that. See. It's like the Joe Buck hates my team thing. How everyone thinks Joe Buck hates their team when they polled them in different cities, and every city thinks Joe Buck hates their team. You know?
Oh yeah, no, but I don't really dislike Bob Costas. I don't. I mean, he says some pretty funny things, and quoting rap songs. It is one of the funniest things he's ever done. I just, and I also don't understand. He talks a little too much. He talks too much, and also. Ron Darling is so much better on Met games than he is on national broadcasts. I don't understand what the national broadcast producers do to these guys to make them worse than they are on their local broadcast. But it's not just Darling. It happens to a lot of guys.
I will say this too. Like Costas doesn't call games all year. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you throw them into the postseason. That's not fair either.
That's also not,
and these guys don't call games together, right? So like Darling and Costas aren't working games together all year. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere, they're doing playoff games together. That's not fair to them either.
Hey.
I will say this. I would love Joe Buck and John Smoltz to be back together. I thought they were tremendous together.
I don't like John Smoltz, but we'll get into that another time. Locked On Rangers New York is here. I usually don't care about announcers, but Darling was basically begging the Royals to win this game. It did sound like that at a certain point. It's true. Like you said, Costas doesn't call stuff all year. And like, I know he's done it in the past, but I feel like guys who call games all year should have the chance to do national broadcasts.
Yeah, that I got to say, like, I see this comment here and I appreciate it, but I didn't see the anti-Yankees thing. I didn't. And I think a lot of people, when it's not their hometown broadcaster, consider it to be anti their team. Did you hear it, Stacey? Did you think they were anti-Yankee, Costas or Darling? Like I didn't hear it out of them. Like I don't get that take. And you hear it all the time.
No. The only one who ever sounds anti-Yankee is John Smoltz, because he always sounds disappointed whenever the Yankees do anything on a Fox game. But it didn't seem anti-Yankees, but they didn't seem, I don't know. It was just too much talking.
I think a lot of people think when it's a neutral broadcast and the broadcasters are not throwing the pom-poms every time the Yankees do something, that it's anti-Yankee or it's anti their team. But they're doing it for both teams. They have to call it down the middle. It's a national broadcast. I don't think they were favoring the Royals. I don't think they were favoring the Yankees. They just called a straightforward game. I don't know.
I think Fox has the ALCS, right?
I think it's FS1. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think FS1 has both the NL and the ALCS in the World Series.
Right.
I didn't have a major problem with the broadcast. I didn't love it either. I thought it was just meh. It was whatever. And I don't pay attention as much to the broadcast when it's a Yankee playoff game, because it's just, I'm so focused on the game that whatever these dumbos are saying on the broadcast doesn't really, it doesn't even really cross my mind. It's like, I hear things like, oh, that's weird, but it doesn't really affect me because the game is on, So it's whatever, I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay. Apparently TBS has the ALCS.
Yeah. I didn't know.
And maybe the NLCS is on Fox. That's possible, I guess. I don't know. Well, I get annoyed with most broadcasters just because I went to school for it. So I listen for certain things and I'm just sitting there constantly. Like it's a bad thing. That's why most of the time when I watch baseball games, I tend to mute the play-by-play and I listen to music while I watch the game because I don't want to listen
distracted. Especially during the playoffs, I can't do that. Like I had to be fully engulfed in the game.
Yeah. No, I was too sick to my stomach to really like I was paying attention, but also not paying attention because I was so nervous and I kept getting up and pacing and stuff. It's the first game of the division series. If they do make it into the ALCS, if they do happen to make it into the World Series, what am I going to be doing? Honestly, if I was this nervous about this game, I think it was really just, I wanted them to win game one. I wanted them to get off to a good start because like you said, Reagan's and Lugo are looming and Lugo shut them down in that one game not too long ago. And Reagan's has the same ability. And, you know, we saw what was happening with the Yankees in game one with the runners in scoring position problem. You know, the Royals only scored 3 runs against the Orioles. And then in this game, they scored 5 in one game. So these are the kind of games you got to win, though.
Like, you want to win a championship, these are the games you have to win. You have to grind these dirty games out. You just do.
Jared, it's okay that you're late. We're happy that you're here. We say it all the time. Jared Williams, it's very rare that he's not here. And if he does miss anything, it's usually a legit reason. Like the other day, he had a doctor's appointment, so he missed one of the live streams and he apologized for it. In the comments on our YouTube video, I said, it's perfectly fine and I hope you're okay. So good to see you here. Good to see everyone. We have a lot of regulars in here right now. Finja asked me a question earlier. Where'd it go? I lost it because the chat's moving so fast. Oh, you meant NL, right? I don't know. The Phillies.
Well, I mean, that Dodgers Padres game right now that we're missing while recording this is off the wire. It is just back and forth, back and forth. The Padres got up to a quick early lead, and then it reversed. The Dodgers took the lead back, and then the Padres took the lead back, and the Dodgers are back in the lead. That's been an unbelievable game so far. I still think Phillies. I do like the way they played today. They played really well. Wheeler was incredible. Their bullpen just gave it up late. But it's really hard to take a pick because we'll get into it in the next segment, but it's really hard for me to sit here and not act like the Mets don't have some kind of magic going on.
They really do, and it's frightening to me. We're going to talk about the rest of the series in the next segment. Let's do that because timing-wise, it's the perfect time to do that. So, we're going to talk about the rest of the playoffs. Cleveland, Detroit, that was a weird one, and we'll talk about Mets, Phillies next.
What's up, everyone? This episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com, booking.yeah. Explore those U.S. cities that you always wanted to learn about, like Houston, Cleveland, Baltimore, Chicago, and Boston, with hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more, all available on Booking.com. You might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival city, during the postseason. Maybe it's time to taste test your baseball competition stadium cuisine. Luckily on Booking.com, you can find the stadium stay that's just right for you. Still got time to get out to Kansas City. You can book your trips right now to Detroit or possibly Cleveland. And maybe you want to prepare for the World Series. We'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But no matter who you're rooting for this postseason, Booking.com can make you a fan of any U.S. city. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts to cute bed and breakfast stays, Booking.com has many choices across the entire United States. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com, booking.yeah. And remember that you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. $82 of you in the live stream. I guess 78 now. I don't know how 4 people wound up going off during the commercial break, but regardless of it, thank you guys. A lot of people on a Saturday night. You could easily be out at the bar or wherever on a Saturday night, but instead you're listening to us. So we thank you.
And watching us, looking at our beautiful faces.
That's
Brian's beautiful face.
That's one word for it.
Face. Yeah.
I will say, if you watched the Met game earlier today, we were alluding to this at the end of this last segment, and we'll continue it on to here. It just feels like there's some sort of weird mojo magic going on with the Mets, and it's really hard to deny it at this point, Stacey. They weirder than any team I've ever remember seeing. And they're
never out of a game.
But they look dead and lifeless for 7 innings, and then all of a sudden they pop off for 5 runs. Yeah. It really is remarkable. Their offense just pieces things together. It's all led by Lindor, who's like the perfect leadoff hitter and the perfect leader on that team. I thought it was crazy how they bring in Senga, and everyone thinks, oh, Senga's available. He really kind of wasn't. He was kind of like a decoy. He was only going to go 2 innings anyway. And then you brought in Peterson, which I didn't love as a move because I thought now you're killing your game 2 starter to get him out there. But he pitched really, really well. And the Met bullpen pitched really, really well. And Diaz has been awesome. Not that he was in this game, but he was awesome this entire postseason so far too. And the Mets just pieced together hits at the right time. But the way this game started out, with the way that Zach Wheeler pitched, and then Schwarber starting it off with the home run, no one in their right mind thought the Mets are winning this game. Everyone thought, all right, this is the one they're gonna lose, and they'll get it back later on. Crazy how they pulled this one out of nowhere.
I don't know. When the Phillies couldn't score more than that, I was like, ugh. I felt like the Mets had the chance to, hold them to a certain point so they could come back. Mm-hmm. And I felt bad for Wheeler. I mean, he pitched his butt off. He pitched really well. Unbelievable. I think he had close to 30 whiffs, swing and misses, like
28.
Incredible. Yeah. And he was like, I think it was like something like he was 4th on the list of people that they kept track of. Garrett Cole had a performance against Tampa when he was with Houston where he had like 32 whiffs or something like that. So, incredible performance for him. A bummer for him because his offense did nothing for him. And the Mets, the Miracle Mets, here they are again in 2024.
Yeah, you get Christopher Sanchez and Luis Severino in game 2. The Phillies run is remarkable. I can't imagine they lose game 2 and go back to Citi Field down 2-0, but who knows? I think it's very obvious the Phillies talent is far superior to the Mets talent, but sometimes teams have a little bit of mojo going on that you really can't explain. So it's really very weird. Speaking of a team that's had a lot of mojo and for some reason didn't show up in game 1, the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers. What happened? I mean, how did you lose this game like this? Not able to score, not able to really get off the schneid, really didn't face amazing pitching either. They just couldn't. They looked like the Detroit Tigers of, 4 out of the first 5 months of the year. So I don't know what happened in this game, but they better pick it up real quick.
I wouldn't say that they didn't face amazing pitching. I mean, that Smith rookie guy from Cleveland is he threw, 4 strikeouts in a row, and he throws really hard. I'm like, who is this guy? And then Class A, my God, 100-mile-an-hour cutter. How do you hit 100-mile-an-hour cutter? Oh, well, guess what? You don't hit 100-mile-an-hour cutter. I mean, he's
the most unhittable reliever in baseball right now. He's
incredible. If Skubal didn't have the year that he had, you could see Class A hit or get the Cy Young, or at least be really high up there without Skubal there. Skubal's going to win it, but
47 saves with a .61 ERA is pretty hard to argue against.
My God, like unbelievable. But Detroit, they lost that game right away because Cleveland scored all those runs to start, and that was just like a punch in the face, really. And they just could not recover from that. And
you rarely see teams that had the off time like Cleveland just come into the postseason and just start hitting out of nowhere. Rarely do you see that. So definitely impressive out of Cleveland, but didn't see it coming out this way. Really weird that they blew this game open like the way they did. And then the game going on right now is Padres-Dodgers. Padres started off. Machado took Yamamoto deep. Really got off to a quick lead where everyone was like, all right, this is going to be a long game for the Dodgers. Ohtani then hits a 3-run homer, ties the game up. Bogarts doubles, lets the Padres got to a 5-3 lead, and now the Dodgers are up 6-5. So it's a back and forth game. It's currently the bottom of the 5th with 2 men on for the Dodgers. So this feels like it's going to be a back and forth game, but a back and forth series. I can't imagine this one doesn't go 5.
I was just checking my Twitter replies, and I forgot. Okay, so when they were talking about Glaber's home run, like when they were kind of recapping things, Costas said it was something approaching a blast, making fun of. I mean, it's like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to. Like, just don't, because you're just going to anger everyone
it
who
doesn't bother me.
Root for the Yankees. Well, I know, but it bothers everyone else. So, like, don't do it. Like, he should know better. And he also said something weird about, something about players pretending they don't speak English. Like something about like,
At the end of the game. Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't, because then you're going to have to apologize again. You can't say stuff like that. Like some of these older guys like don't have a filter and they forget that they can't say these things in 2024. You have to be careful, my dude.
I think the problem that I have with him is he still calls games like it's the 80s. Like
he
has this very slow kind of storyteller, monotone kind of way of doing it. And that's not how games are called nowadays.
Yeah. And you're not Vin Scully either. So you can't do the same kind of stuff that Vin Scully used to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, but it is what it is. The game is more important than whatever story Bob Costas is telling on the TV.
Yeah. Now let's see if we have any more comments here. Yeah, I mean, he does have to. Okay. So Max, I can't read. Ness, TBG. Looks like typical Yankees to me. Same old Judge in the playoffs. He needs to pick it up and start hitting. He looks like he's pressing. He did that. There was one at bat where he really did look like he was pressing. Like,
yeah, but again, like Stacey said though, like Judge is very much a rhythm guy. You see him when he gets out of rhythm and he looks like he can't hit for a week, and then he gets in a rhythm and he hits a home run in 8 straight games.
But so we can't have him not hit for. Yeah, but we can't have him not hit for the next week. We need to.
That's
get
the problem with the postseason. The postseason, you get out of a rhythm really quickly. It's over.
Yeah.
So you gotta get in your rhythm really quick.
Yep. Anything else? Again, thank you guys for all being in here, guys and girls, because I know there are girls in there too. I meant guys, like just overall, as a collective word.
People.
Yes, people. Thank you, people, for being in here with us, because this is an unusual thing, but we're gonna do it as long as the Yankees last in the playoffs. You're gonna see our faces after the game within like 10 to 15 minutes of the game, so I can get everything set up. All those pretty graphics you see in the background. We have to set that up for the show. We have to know what we're going to be talking about too, because, we can't just come on here willy-nilly. Hey, I don't mean to call you out because you're a very good viewer, Finja, but EY, STACEY.
Oh, that was the issue you had.
Yes. Look, my cousins do it to me too. I mean, they've known me my entire life and they still spell my name wrong. So it's fine. It's fine, Finja. I'm just kidding. I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding. He's poor Finja. See, thank you. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in here. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm so glad we're doing this after a win and not after a loss, because who knows how it would have been, because like we said, game 2 and 3, those are going to be the ones, like those are the important ones. And they needed this win. And again, when Cole came out that flat, it was just like, oh, this is not the game that they can afford to lose, because this will set a bad precedent and a bad beginning for the series. And you can't have that happen.
They got lucky at times in this game. They did give up a lot of opportunities, but again, they came away with the win. It was a gritty win. He needed that.
Did they end up 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position? It was something.
It wasn't great.
It was something like that. I think there was one hit before the Verdugo hit and then Verdugo. But again, let's give credit to Verdugo, because they booed him in the intro. Like, you heard some boos in the intro. People weren't happy about him being in, but I know that one of the reasons why they had him in this game, he had hit Waka a little bit in the past, but he also has a tendency, at least when he was on the Red Sox, to kind of step it up a little bit in the playoffs. And I think that's why they wanted him in there. So he stepped up.
I'd still rather Dominguez play, but he did step up. I got to give him credit where credit's due.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Dominguez would have made those 2 plays that Verdugo did.
I definitely don't think I don't know if the play in foul territory would have mattered as much, only because it would have been a foul ball. Cole would have got the ball back with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen on the next play. The play to me, which is huge, is the start of the 6th inning off the wall, that Verdugo makes a really, really experienced bounce off the wall, takes it on one hop, throws it in second base, stops it from becoming a double. Leadoff double there with Dominguez. Cole gets taken out of the game. Mesa comes in. You don't know what happens there with the runner on second base as opposed to runner on first base. So I really, really think that play was a massive play in the game.
Yep. So
little things like that we talk about, little things like
Verdugo. Actually, I don't know if everyone saw this. Talk while I upload this to the to StreamYard. I have something to upload. So if you have things to say to our audience, please do so, Brian.
Well, we thank you for joining the chat and for all 89 of you now being with us 35 minutes in. These will be going live after every Yankee playoff game. The ones that I'm at will be a little later, but they will still be going live. I'll be at game 2. Somebody else was asking. I have ALCS tickets. I'll be there. Hopefully, I'll be at the World Series if they make it that far.
Hopefully, you'll be at the ALCS if they make it that far.
Yeah, so I'll be at these games for absolute sure. I'll be posting my shorts before and after the games, like we're doing too. So definitely look forward to it. Going to be a lot of content, hopefully, coming up over the next month.
And also tell your friends, if they're Yankee fans, to join us in
tell your friends, your grandma, your aunt, your great aunt.
Anyone who knows how to use YouTube. So this is what I put up as the thumbnail at the very last minute. Because at first it was just the generic Locked On Yankees podcast picture because I didn't know what was going to happen in the game. And then this is what I did for the thumbnail.
Alexander Verdugo.
Yeah. Because I couldn't think of something clever to say. And I know that I believe Locked On Mets basically did Pete with about 15 exclamation points after Alonso's home run in Milwaukee. And I thought I could do that with Verdugo. I'll just do a bunch of O's. So that's what I did for the thumbnail. So, yeah, like we said, live. We're doing live. And, oh, Jared.
Sorry, Jared. You didn't have to kill the mood.
Well, I mean, I did a whole segment about my dad on the anniversary of his passing on Thursday. So, if your family members have a big influence on you baseball wise, like my dad did, then yeah. Anything else we need to say about the game?
They won. Pick the mood up. They won. We don't got to go crazy over. Let's not talk about death. They won. They won game 1. They're up 1-0 in this series. Why are we talking about our family members that are they won a game that, like Brian said earlier, they would have lost this game when they were in that 11 for 24 funk. They would have lost this game in July. Like this was the type of game that they just would have. It would have been over. So the fact that they were able to come back and win, there was a little bit of rust there too, just from the layoff. Oh yeah.
But I think things will be better on Monday. Now that they got game 1 under their belts, I think it'll be better on Monday. At least I hope so. And I hope some of the sloppiness fixes itself because it's unacceptable. You can't play like that in the playoffs because one play can ruin an entire game, and they're lucky that it didn't this time.
Yeah, but that Glaber play again in the first inning.
Ooh.
Something that simple could do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. This is a good late grandma comment.
I want proof.
My late grandmother dated Whitey Ford before meeting my grandfather.
I want proof.
Yeah, we need pictures.
Yeah.
We need black and white pictures of your grandmother and Whitey Ford because that's actually pretty awesome. Yeah. Okay. So one more time, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Download the SXM app, search the word Yankees, and you'll hear John Sterling go crazy over Alex Verdugo's RBI single like he did tonight. Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. Now go check out the Locked On MLB podcast. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day. The link to Locked On MLB is in the description, so you don't need to search. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And make sure you check out the Locked On Yankees postcast right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on Locked On Sports New York. They have their own YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. So before we really end this, he was right. Because I heard a couple of the calls. Papa Rick says Sterling was great tonight as usual. I'm just glad he's able to do the games because it just seems right to have Sterling calling Yankee playoff games. It wouldn't have been right without him in 2024. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees, and they're going to be live for a while. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll see you after another win on Monday.